Pruitt is now a road race star, and with Max Pappas, co-champ of the Grand Am Series. Sebastian Bourdais from Champ Car drew the pole, alongside Nextel Cup champ Kurt Busch. Max Pappas, Rolex Series co-champ, the Busch Series champion Martin Truex Jr. Both in their first IROC as his Indy 500 winner Buddy Rice and two-time 500 winner Helio Castroneves. Rolex co-champ Scott Pruitt, the Craftsman Truck Series champ Bobby Hamilton. We're saying champ a lot.
Yes, we are. That's what it's all about, Mike.
Danny Lasowski, World of Outlaws champion and Texas IROC race winner last year. And that's Danny Lasowski. And then Matt Kenseth, last year's Crown Royal $1 Million IROC champion. Mark Martin, 4 IROC titles in his final season of Nextel Cup. And Steve Kinser, the king of the Outlaws.
I guess you'd have to say in that final row, 2 kings, king of IROC and the king of dirt.
Be interesting to watch this on board with Mark Martin. Remember, he's starting on the last row, and these guys, they want to get up there, they want to lead laps because that pays bonus points.
Matt Kenseth also carrying an onboard camera for us. Note the colors and numbers employed. Something that was started last year. Each driver carries the colors and numbers he brought to fame instead of a random draw. Pace car is in. 2 by 2, 6 rows deep. 12 great champions take the green flag to begin Crown Royal IROC 29.
Bourdais gets a really good start. Larry, we watched the other day during practice. He got an opportunity to practice starts like this, so he get a good feel for it, so it didn't really surprise him when they come to take the green. He made a very smooth start right there.
Yes, he did. They practiced that for about an hour, but I'm seeing that outside line kind of getting lined up off turn 2. It'll take about a lap for these cars to get wound up.
The problem Bourdais had was that Max Pappas did not go quickly with him, and the outside column began to move.
See Kurt Busch in the 97 car, his NASCAR buddy Martin Truex Jr. in the 8 car. They're lining up, a little bump draft going off into turn 3. We'll see these cars doing that a lot.
And look who's with him, Castroneves.
That's right. Helio Castroneves. Now, he was full of himself the other day during the drawing and real excited about the fact this is his 4th IROC, and he's really glad to be back here.
Yeah, he alluded to the fact that I'm going the wrong way with my performance in IROC.
Looking on trying to pick it up a little bit, wasn't he, Larry?
Yes, he was.
Fair to say, nobody had more fun in Crown Royal IROC 28 last year than Castroneves.
Mike, I think he has fun no matter where he goes.
This will be a 40-lap race as we're riding through Mark Martin. The last time by, he came by in 10th position and still moving up here as well, following Kinser in the 11 car, the green car.
Bourdais backing up as Martin Truex Jr. goes to the lead, and Castroneves tracks him on the low side.
I think Helio is committed to latch on to whoever's leading this race. Let me stay on their rear bumper. We talked about this will be a 40-lap race. At lap 25, there will be a competition caution. It will not be for a pit stop. It'll be to regroup the field.
Here comes Busch back to the outside. He's got him a little bit of help right there. The 4 car.
Whoa, and he got a little side draft off Castroneves.
Yes,
Kenseth to the bottom, and there he goes.
3 wide. He's getting help from Kinser in the 11 car, the green car, pushing him through there. I love this package on these cars. You can draft so well with it.
Guess who got squirted out of the bun? Helio Castroneves got in between the 2 rows and went all the way to 10th.
As these cars are in a tight draft, you'll keep seeing those roof flaps kind of wink at each other. That is a roof flap. It's because the pressure changes as these cars move around.
That's Bobby Hamilton up there in the 4 car on the high side, trying to get by these guys. And he told me the other day he was having himself a blast driving these race cars.
The pressure is going to come from Mark Martin and Matt Kenseth, who have fought their way from rows 5 and 6 all the way up into this lead battle. You're riding with Mark Martin.
And right now he's bottled up. He's committed to have to pretty much go wherever Bobby Hamilton in the 4 car goes.
Hamilton way up high. That left a lot of room in the middle. Nobody filled it in.
But Mike, we're going to see this all night long. This is what this type of racing promotes. These guys are going to work on each other. I mean, hammer and nail, tooth and tongue. And as Larry alluded to early on, it's going to be one of those deals that you've got to do it on your own. There's no spotters. You've got to realize where you are on the racetrack, use your rearview mirror and your hand signals, Larry.
Well, I think 2 boys that started up the front, I think they have went to school quickly. Sebastian Bourdais, that was on the pole, Max Pappas, they are back at 11th and 12th now, but I bet you they will continue to
3 wide.
3 wide, coming to complete remember, you cannot drop below that yellow line and advance your position. That was a very borderline situation at the finish of last year's race.
Kenseth moves up to third, and he dragged that green and white number 11 of Steve Kinser with him on the inside.
We have scoring here. In that last lap, 11 of the 12 positions changed on that lap.
How about Kinser, tucked right up under Matt Kenseth, the number 11.
Being bashful at all.
And he said something about knock, knock, here I am.
Mark Martin in the 6 trying to stay hooked up with Bobby Hamilton in 4 and get that outside line moving. Looked like Matt Kenseth in the 17 just for a second wanted to duck to the high side, and he saw that line coming.
3 wide into turn number 1.
Boy, Mark Martin, did he ever give Bobby Hamilton a shove off into turn 1? It worked for a second, but now Kenseth wants the lead.
And it's bye-bye Kurt Busch. He got squirted to the back in the middle.
Watch Bobby Hamilton come back on the outside. He got a real strong run up there. Even though he was up high, I believe that the fact that Mark Martin stayed right there with him, they really pushed each other down that back straightaway.
It shuffled Busch back to 9th. Pow! Kinser meet Kenseth. Kablam!
And that's in the middle of the corner where they're doing this bump drafting. These guys will be fighting to lead these races earlier. You see the hand signal from Matt Kenseth. Stay with me. Stay with me.
But look who's working his way back up there right behind Kinser. Happens to be Castroneves.
Matt Kenseth, Steve Kinser, Bobby Hamilton, Elio Castroneves. 6 laps complete.
Firm, so fit. That manly scent.
Comes that cool blast your feelings. As she touches your skin.
It just feels better with an Aqua Velva Man.
Steelers 250 kicks off the 10th anniversary year of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series right here on Speed, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming around a complete 9 laps, Matt Kenseth picking up where he left off last season in Crown Royal IROC 28, where he won the $1 million. 3 wide into turn 1 again. And things start to shuffle out.
I tell you who I'm pretty impressed with, the guy that started in 3rd, Mac Pappas in the 16 car. He went all the way to the rear of the field, let things sort out. Now he's worked his way back up to 4th. He practiced every opportunity he had when the track was open for these cars.
The Italian driver from Como, Italy, whose first name is Massimiliano.
Oh, I sure am glad they decided to call him Max.
First time he came here and ran sports cars, they called him Mad Max, and it stuck. Look where Mark Martin is headed.
Stuck
Number
in the middle
6.
without anyone. And he's going to go all the way to the rear of the field. He just had worked his way up to the lead draft.
Well, you look again right there. He's got a car below the yellow line now. Can't advance your position. The yellow car right there, and that was Sebastian Bourdais, but he held his position, so he won't be penalized for that. But you look where Bobby Hamilton wound up. A few laps ago, he was up there challenging for the lead. Now he went all the way to the back and's got to start all over again.
Kinser wants the lead, but he has no help. A quick welcome to all the members of the American Armed Services watching around the world. Glad to have you with us.
I mean, look at these guys. They are racing like someone told them 5 to go. They're 3 by 3, 4 wide right there.
Elio Castroneves once again giving Matt Kenseth a little love nudge down the back straightaway.
We talked about a while ago why these guys want to lead laps, is there's bonus points. 5 points going to the driver leads the most laps, 3 for the second most, and 2 in those points, as we saw last year, can be very, very important at the end of this series.
That was the difference between what, $1 million?
Yes, sir.
And everybody else.
And everybody else. That's exactly right, Mike.
Mark Martin trying to fight his way back up through. Bobby Hamilton alongside. Race for 10. That's Daniel Lasowski in the 20. Kurt Busch the 97. Little thump. Another one. Bump drafted.
Another driver I want to give a little love to is old Buddy Rice in the 15 car. This is his first experience here in a stock car on a super speedway. First time out the other day in practice. Look at him beating and banging right there.
Oh, we got contact right there through the trial.
Max Pappas in the middle of things, stirring the pot.
Mike, you can see inside it, looked like he was fighting bees inside in that 16 car, back and forth.
Remember, no spotters on the roof.
You got it. It's going off of that gut. Is that car there? Can I get in that hole? I need to get in that hole.
Oops, what hole?
The hole closed. Castro Neves bump drafting Kenseth.
This is not impatience. This is just trying to get both those cars away from the field. Not going to happen, is it?
I mean, we have all 12 cars after 12 and a half laps, less than a second within each other.
Here's a guy we haven't said a whole lot about tonight so far. Coming up here in third place is Scott Pruitt, former winner down here. So he's kind of snuck back up in here, getting right in behind Helio Castroneves and Matt Kenseth. It's going to make his challenge, I'm thinking, in the next few laps.
Only 5 of the IROC races at Daytona have been won by a non-NASCAR driver. Scott Pruitt is one of them. Live from Daytona trackside tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time, right after IROC Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be among the guests. And then the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series a little later on this evening. So big night on speed.
A couple other IROC champions will be on our show, Kevin Harvick and Rusty Wallace.
Single file for the moment. Kenseth, Castroneves, and Pruitt broke away for a bit. They've been caught by Lasowski, Hamilton, Kinzer, Martin, Buddy Rice, Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, Max Pappas, and Sebastian Bourdais. And for the first time in this race, a lap went by where no position changed.
That would definitely be the first time. But I'm sure Kenseth is looking up in his mirror saying, where's my NASCAR buddies at? Where are they at? They're back in the middle of the field.
The shuffle begins again. Show you what happened to Max Pappas in the middle, number 16. He comes down into Buddy Rice, then bounces up, almost catches Bourdais and Kurt Busch. But look at the loss of momentum on his car from that bump.
Yeah, he goes from 4th almost to the complete rear of the field. And right now, Bourdais is running 12th.
That was a great save because it could have been ugly real quick.
Kenny Wallace joins us. He'll be in the Daytona 500, one of the 3 Wallace brothers that will run the Great American Race come Sunday.
What do you
like
think,
what you're seeing?
I tell you what, it reminds me of grassroots racing. First of all, it's exciting, and we make such a big deal out of the Cup and Busch Series and Truck Series about our spotters, our mirrors. And I'm watching moves made here that you can tell that they don't have that side mirror or they don't know exactly what's going on. It's very exciting.
One thing that hasn't changed is on point. Kenseth and Castroneves have been welded together, and Scott Pruitt has not moved out of their shadow.
And this is what Castroneves did in the early part of the races. He tried to stay latched on to that leader's rear bumper. He actually got a little bit loose off turn 4 that time, but able to get back in line.
Guys, I'm kind of keeping my eye on to see what's going to happen here in the next couple of laps is Daniel Lasowski. He looks like he's kind of waiting for that opening to try to make a move. He's just been very patient all night long.
Now in 7 laps we'll have that competition yellow, and again what that's all about is basically regrouping the field. They don't put fuel in the cars, they don't change tires, no chassis adjustments, just to regroup the field. But there's bonus points paid to the top 3 finishers at the competition yellow, so it's important to be running in one of those top 3 positions.
You know what I really like about the series this year is as soon as you think there's going to be a breakaway, there's not. And year after year, you're waiting for that breakaway, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. There's about 7 of them in line, and further on back at the back, you see them 2 wide, and you know you don't know if it's going to happen. Then all of a sudden, boom, they're all over each other again.
But Kenny, this package is a lot like what's on the Busch cars. The fin across the roof, lots of downforce. You can pull back up. You can recover from getting out of the throttle.
Boy, do I know that's exciting. That's the same package that Dale Earnhardt and I had in 2000 when we came from dead last to the front. It creates such a big wake of air. It's hard to lose the draft.
A lap ago, we had 2 packs, and now it's 1. The front 6 very tight together, and the next 6 single file, tracking them down.
There has to be no paint left on the nose of Castroneves' car on the rear bumper of Matt Kenseth in the 17.
Not much. 20 laps complete this time by. Matt Kenseth, Helio Castroneves, Scott Pruitt, Danny Lasowski, Bobby Hamilton, Mark Martin, the first half dozen. Sunday on Speed. NASCAR this morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, starring Kenny Wall. Yeah, you.
Herm the Worm.
Kenny Wallace. Boy, somebody almost went for a ride, and it was Mark Martin on the high side, kind of deep in the pack, and the outside row almost got squeezed up a little too high. There is the margin of lead. Matt Kenseth back to Helio Castroneves, less than a tenth of a second. Here's Matt.
Mike, earlier today, Castroneves and Daniel Lasowski spent time together. The big goal was to keep the Roush guys, Martin, Busch, and Kenseth, from teaming up into a 1-2-3. They felt like if they could keep the over-wheel guys together and form their own little pack, they'd have a better shot. And right now, they are second, third, and fourth.
Well, Matt, mission accomplished, because they have kept those Roush drivers broken up, as Kenseth pretty much picking up where he left off the end of last year, leading the pack, but Martin and Busch back in the field. And it appears what Matt Kenseth, Kenny, is committed to do right now is run the bottom, hug the bottom of the racetrack. Do not open the door. If they're going to go by him, I think they'll have to go by him on the high side.
It's really hard to get by on the high side when cars are evenly matched. When they're evenly matched like this, you want to go the shortest route, which is on the bottom. Now, if you got a quicker car, you might be able to get it done on the outside, but I don't believe in the IROC cars. I mean, they do such a great job making them evenly matched, but right now, I mean, just an incredible show. Looked like Kurt Busch trying to make a move by himself.
And he's having a little success there back at 4th place. He's gotten alongside, and now he's got help on the high side as they go off into turn 1. Martin Truex and Mark Martin with him.
Well, those are the 3 guys right there that Matt was talking about a minute ago. You got Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, along with Mark Martin up on the high side, trying to work together to make a move back to the front.
Did you see the back end on Truex's number 8 dance out there? My gosh.
Sidestepped, didn't it, Mike?
Now, guys, they'll be completing lap 25. Right here, you saw the bonus points for the top 3 cars, and that's what those top 3 want to accomplish. They want to get those bonus points as they come to lap 25. Matt Kenseth, he will not move off the bottom of the racetrack. He knows where he needs to be.
Kenseth, Castroneves, Pruitt, the 3 leaders.
And look what's happened once again to Mark Martin and everybody that went to the high side a couple laps ago. They got hung out to dry and got shuffled all the way back to the back, with the exception of Mark Martin. He ducked down in a hole that was there. Now he's taking advantage of it. He's up to 6th.
And I really think that move that Mark Martin made, Jeff, has to be by feel, by feeling the air, because, you know, not having a spotter to tell you clear, you don't know when you're clear.
So now the yellow comes out that we've completed 25. Kenseth, Castroneves, and Pruitt the bonus points. And I think of all the movers in this field, I'm most impressed with Helio Castroneves. Once Matt Kenseth got in front to lead 20 of the 25 laps, Castroneves locked right onto his bumper and stayed there.
The biggest thing that they accomplished during this little break is they finally get to breathe after 20.
I would love to be able to look inside of Helio Castroneves' car right now and see his face. I bet you he's got a big grin on it right now.
Nobody will take that bet. Look at the diversity in this top 5 as we're under caution. At the break, it's Matt Kenseth, Helio Castroneves, and Scott Pruitt in the lead positions. Let's go trackside. Matt Yoakum.
Mike, Jerry Knight is the brand director for Crown Royal. Describe the excitement surrounding your company's involvement with IROC in year 2.
This is an amazing race. We're so proud to be here for the 2nd year as the title sponsor of Crown Royal IROC. This is a great opportunity for us to get our responsibility message out. Fans love this style of racing. All these champions come together, and we love getting this message in front of them to be a champion, drink responsibly. We've got 12 champions out here representing that. We think it's a great opportunity and great for the fans.
Thanks, Jerry.
Under the competition yellow, getting set to run the final 15 laps here at Daytona. Mark Martin won the inaugural IROC race at Indianapolis in July of 1998. Wins his 11th career IROC race, tying him with Dale Earnhardt and Al Unser Jr., and got his 4th championship, tying him with Dale Earnhardt for most IROC titles.
It was absolutely phenomenal. I remember when we did it the 3rd time, it was like, well, you know, I don't know how I've got everybody fooled, but, you know, and I don't know how this is happening, but it's really good for me, and it was good for my career. It was quite an ego stroke to be able to pull that off and climb out of that car and have people say, how did you do that?
Mark Martin, 11th IROC season. He can own the record book if he wins one more race, one more title.
I think one of the reasons that Mark Martin is so good, and I think everybody in this booth knows, when you're inside that garage area, Mark Martin was so great at those NASCAR Busch Series cars. He never uses the brake much in the NASCAR Busch Series, and these cars are similar. They're low on horsepower, and they were always wanting to know why Mark always dominated. And I think inside the garage area, that's one thing that everybody thinks, is that he just is so good at not using the brakes.
He's a smart driver, that's for sure.
The list of drivers who have won here in IROC is stellar, starting with Mark Donohue, Bobby Unser, Benny Parsons, Cale Yarborough. Mario Andretti won this race in 1978. He showed up in pit lane just the other day, and Jay Signori said to Mario, "Hey kid, need a ride?" And Mario hopped in one of these IROC racers and hot lapped it. Had a blast.
And it didn't take him long to be running laps exactly what the other IROC drivers were running.
No, sir. Darrell Waltrip, Al Unser, Jeff Bodine, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, along with Scott Pruitt and Mark Martin, who are in this field, have won in IROC here at Daytona.
Now the restart is a little unique after this competition yellow. Matt Kenseth, who won the first segment, he gets the front row by himself, and from there it gets real unique, Mike.
Yes, from there on back you get to choose. Castroneves chose second row to the inside. Scott Pruitt had the next choice. He chose to line up behind Castroneves instead of going to the outside. Buddy Rice, who finished the first segment in 5th, is now lined up 3rd, the first car in the outside row. Each driver on back gets his choice of the next available spot in whichever row he wants.
And I would say Kenseth, he'll try to get right back to the bottom just as quick as he can. There you see it right there. It goes across the start-finish line, right back to the yellow line.
Castroneves and Pruitt will again try to tuck up on him, but Pruitt did not get that good a restart.
He didn't get that good a restart right now, and it may open the door for Mark Martin to drop in behind Castroneves, which is exactly what Mark Martin does, and it's going to leave Buddy Rice hung out to dry, I believe.
I thought Buddy Rice made the right choice, but he could not clear Matt Kenseth.
Well, he made the right choice as long as he had Mark Martin tucked up behind him until Mark jumped to the bottom.
Bourdais is up there to help Rice. Lasowski tucked in from the bottom. Ooh, close quarters here.
And how do you win championships and how do you win races in IROC? You do what Mark Martin just did. You take advantage of a lot of experience right there. He filled the hole. Now he's going to go to work and see if he can work on these two guys in front and make a run for the win.
And you know what, Jeff? One great thing about that comment is that Mark Martin never takes big chances. You don't see him beating and banging on each other. And that's one thing I like about him. He makes those moves, and boy, when he makes them, he does them right. Never goes bouncing off anybody.
And now Martin has his Roush Racing NASCAR teammate Kurt Busch with him.
So now we have the 3 Nextel Cup boys in the top 4.
They've only got one problem they got to worry about right now. What are they going to do with that 03 car? Can they get him out from behind Matt Kenseth? And I don't think it's going to be an easy task getting him up off the bottom away from Matt Kenseth.
Or something just happened to Bobby Hamilton all of a sudden on the backstretch. He yanked it to the high side, let the group go by, and he just fell in behind them.
Third place, Mark Martin, aiming to become the career overall IROC race winner if he can go to victory lane here.
I think another obstacle he has is that red car, Helio Castroneves. I don't think Castroneves, and maybe up until the last lap, has any plan of coming off this site right here, looking at Matt Kenseth's rear bumper.
No, he's really matured. I think that's the thing he was trying to tell us during the press conference the other day. I have learned a lot the last 3 times here. I will not be snookered like I've been done before. And so far, he's been really, really good of hanging in there and making the right moves.
I mean, look at these guys. The whole top 5 is bump drafting down the backstretch.
And this is at 178 miles an hour, Matt.
Only 3 foreign-born drivers, Mike, have ever won an IROC event. Castroneves trying to make it 4. The 2-time Indy 500 winner told me he has never been more focused and driven than to win here at Daytona. In fact, he's been documenting his day with a home video camera, spending the day with the other drivers, getting them to say personal messages. Can you imagine if he takes that camera all the way to victory lane?
Single file, 12 laps to go. Good time to take a break because they won't stay single file for long. There are your leaders in Crown Royal IROC 29.
Start the day.
Play the official fantasy games of Speed Channel, Speed Fantasy Cup Auto Racing 2005. Check it all out right now at speedtv.com. 9 laps to go in Crown Royal IROC 29, round 1 at Daytona. Matt Kenseth has now led 26 of 31 laps, and Helio Castroneves has been locked on his back bumper for, let's see, 26 of those 26.
Yes, he has.
So Matt Kenseth has clinched the 5 points for most laps led. Kurt Busch has led 3 laps. He's eligible for 3 points for the next most laps led.
Oh, me. Matt Kenseth just got real loose right there in the middle of that corner, went up the racetrack. That's the furthest off the bottom that I've seen all night long, but nobody, he didn't let up.
Mark Martin peaked out, but couldn't make a move.
You have to believe we're down to 8 laps to go. Somebody will make a move here shortly. Mike, you mentioned those 5 bonus points. Last year, Matt Kenseth won the championship by 5 points, $1 million versus $80,000 for second.
I'm telling you something I see brewing right now. Castroneves, when he gets into turn 3, he is getting a run out of this world, and it looks like he's unable to hold the front end down. Let's see what happens again. He has been peeking around the outside. I see it brewing here again. Let's see if Castroneves can keep it on the bottom.
These guys keep moving around, trying to search just a little bit, but Matt Kenseth, as he has done for most of this race, he is hooked to the bottom of this racetrack, even on the straightaways.
Now, nobody's getting more than a foot off that yellow line.
Now, another thing I see happening here, as these laps are winding down, every once in a while, we've heard there's in-car cameras, you can hear them, and you hear a little bit of trail brake going on. Those last couple laps, there's nobody going to be braking, nobody's going to be letting out of the gas. And we have a situation here for a great finish.
All right, Kenny, with what you've seen, if you jump to the high side, do you make the pass or does somebody else fill the spot?
I don't think you can go to the outside. I think you're going to have to hit him and hope you hit him so hard it moves him up the track. I really feel that way because they know that they cannot go to the outside. You see Castro, there he goes. He's like, oh, I'm wanting to go to the outside, but I don't think Mark is going to go with me. Mark wants to win the race, but he also wants to win the championship. If he knows, if Mark goes to the outside, he's gonna get booted way back.
Should I stay or should I go? That's the question with 6 laps remaining.
Wow, I got goosebumps right now because I know the patience that it is taking right now for all these guys to stay on the bottom. I can guarantee you 2 or 3 times Helio and Mark Martin have wanted to move. Now, Mark says, you're not banging me off this bottom.
No spotters. They do have in-car radios, but all they receive is instruction from the officials as a group. David Hoots is the race director, and he is telling the drivers as they come by start finish how many laps remain. That is all the radio traffic there is.
You know, Mike, what I keep seeing is Helio's car down here in turn 3 wants to keep going up a little bit. I think if he does that anymore, I think Mark is going to fill that hole, and we could get a little beating and banging going on.
The Roush Cup drivers in positions 1, 3, and 4. Bang! Castroneves on the assault.
Look at the word Castroneves. Look at it, and right underneath of it, Mike, the fiberglass and the paint are gone.
You hear Matt Kenseth's engine. The RPM hardly wavers. Mark Martin right down on the yellow line. Castroneves dips back down.
Oh, boy, look at Castro. Oh.
Elio opened the door right there just a little bit.
And I have to think he doesn't want to do that. I think his car is wanting to do that. These cars are so equally prepared. Here we go. They're bump drafting now, going into the corner.
On the outside.
Oh, here we go.
Bourdais on the outside, and they climb the hill. Mark Martin is there on the bottom.
Exactly what we said was going to happen. He did not try the outside. He just beat him, hit him up so hard.
Pruitt climbs to 4th.
Here we go.
Busch to 3rd. Lasowski, Lasowski, Pruitt hard in the wall. Bourdais, Lasowski, Kinzer. Well, that's Kinzer and Castroneves. Right about there, Kenny. I think drive responsibly went out the window.
Well, I wasn't wanting to say it, Mike, but I knew that was going to happen, and we're trying to set the fans up for it because, look, we're talking about $1 million at the end of this deal. There's 4 laps to go. They tell them 4 laps to go, and you knew they weren't going to drag the brake no more. You knew they weren't going to let off the gas, and they took their chances. Danny Lasowski made his move to the inside. Somebody tried to block him. They rubbed tires, and the rest was just total chaos.
Kurt Busch comes to pit road, along with Max Pappas, whose car had fallen off the pace. Pappas cycles through the pit lane. He was well clear of that. They can receive replacement tires, but here, let's have a look at what happened. From 01 at the bottom of your screen, Pruitt.
Okay, now this is going into turn 1. Remember I said they're going to quit dragging the brake? Castroneves says no more. Bang, hits him. Here comes Mark Martin, Mike, to fill the hole.
Now Martin's got room. Castroneves gives Mark room, but behind him, Kurt Busch and the 01 of Pruitt and the 2 of Bourdais and Lasowski in the orange 20. Where's it start?
Right with the 20. Let's watch the 20. 20 goes 3 wide to 97. Kurt Busch is coming down.
And Kinzer, the 11, runs into Pruitt and turns him around in front of Bourdais.
But you know what? This is what this race is all about. Nobody did nothing wrong. It's a product of the environment. There's no spotters. Here we go.
With Scott Pruitt.
Okay, so Kurt Busch comes down on Pruitt, but what Kurt doesn't know is underneath Pruitt is Danny Lasowski. Let's watch again.
You're riding with Sebastian Bourdais. Ooh.
So Kurt's left rear gets into Pruitt.
Well, if there is fault to be placed, look at where Lasowski is below the line trying to advance, and things bottle up. Well, actually, he got shoved below the line, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. But once again, I'm speechless because, if this was a normal race, they would say, where was your spotter? How come he didn't tell you somebody was underneath him? But this is the way this racing is set up.
And, Matt, it looks to us like Danny Lasowski got forced below the yellow line as you're with Kurt Busch.
And Kurt Busch has pulled his car to a stop. The Crown Royal IROC crew was going to try to fix what they could, but the radiator they could not fix in time. Tell us what happened from your vantage point, Kurt.
You knew we were going to stack up. There was going to be no other way through it. Saw Helio get a little loose. He was trying to push Matt and get him loose. I was going wherever Mark Martin went, and we had an opening behind Helio. and then I was going to go with Mark to go past Matt. Matt seemed to just make friends with the yellow line. He went below it to pass me for the lead. Then he stayed attached to it for the rest of the race. And didn't really provide for that much fun for the rest of us. We were just waiting for when the wreck was going to happen. And then Mark checked up behind Matt. I tried to get in that hole. Pruitt checked up because I got in the hole. He got slammed from behind. And then I got behind in steering, so I didn't save my car well enough. And so it's unfortunate to tear up Jason Norrie, stuff like that. And I guess the way that the rules are set up, the leader just seems to hold everybody in place, and none of us could go to the outside and make any ground on the leader. So tough combination for all these champions to run with. We all wanted to wreck one another to get to Matt.
Thank you, Kurt.
Sebastian Bourdais, round 1 is done. Lasowski had moved to the inside of Scott Pruitt. Pruitt came down to cover the spot. That sent Lasowski below the yellow line, and it all went from there.
Sundays on Speed. On this show, everyone's got an opinion.
Why would anybody want that?
Let my drive and do the talking.
Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain returns on an all-new Day and Time, February 20th, 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Honey? Millions of men now start their morning in a powerful way. M3 Power, Gillette's first battery-powered shaving system. Its M3 Power Glide blades have a patented comfort coating for less irritation. Turn on its tiny motor and micro-pulses raise hair so you shave closer. A battery-powered razor with our most advanced blades. Feel the power of the world's best shave. M3 Power from Gillette.
Outside, it's still winter, but inside, we're...
Did you or a loved one suffer complications during or after aortic stent graft surgery to repair an abdominal aortic aneurysm? You may be entitled to money damages. In this procedure, the stent device is inserted into a vein in the groin. If you or a loved one had this procedure and suffered any of the complications shown on the screen, call James Rollshouse and Associates.
Call 800-619-3261. That's 800-619-3261. Time restrictions apply, so call now.
What you wish you could do in real life.
Can I see it in red again?
Now you can do at the all-new, completely redesigned VHIX.com. The all-new VHIX.com. Roadmap to the automotive world.
Royal IROC Series from Daytona is presented by Crown Royal. Be a champion, drink responsibly. And brought to you by Netscape low-cost internet service. Netscape, just the net you need. Caution flag waves, more like a red flag situation as the field is halted. It all came together behind race leader Matt Kenseth. Castroneves and Kenseth climbed the hill. That opened things up to close things up, and in the back straightaway as Danny Lasowski dipped under Scott Pruitt. Pruitt came down on Lasowski, put Lasowski below the yellow line, and things, Matt, really stacked up from there.
Mike, Danny Lasowski was frantically motioning to Jay Signori. Jay poked his head in the window and said, I believe possibly the toe is knocked out. They're going to check the toe. You can see the tape measure going underneath the front as the two Crown Royal IROC crew members, Jim Meister, the crew chief, and the guys checking that out. Now all the cars are going to get fresh tires due to all the debris on the racetrack. The Crown Royal IROC official didn't want to take a chance on going back to green with a cut tire.
Kenny, the cars to watch here are going to be 01 Scott Pruitt and the orange number 20, this car of Danny Lasowski, as we have another look at the replay of what happened.
Okay, what we see right now is the 20 car, the orange car. He goes underneath Pruitt. Now 97 is coming down and doesn't know Lasowski's there, and that's what starts it. But once again, you know, it seems like every time we're at Daytona, Mike, somebody wants to say, hey, it was this guy's fault, it was that guy's fault. I don't think you can place blame for the fact that, you know, there were cars under the yellow line, and we're taught for the last 5 years you can't race below the yellow line. So you know, Kurt Busch is thinking, okay, there's nobody below that yellow line because this guy's on it. And what happened is, you know, they were underneath of it, and that's what started it.
But Lasowski made his move in fair territory and got pushed down into foul territory as Pruitt came down to cover the spot. Once again, we'll point out there are no spotters on the roof to help clear these drivers in traffic.
Right.
When we come back, we'll see how many of these drivers can get back out there.
Pacing is everything, especially when drinking Crown Royal.
Win Fuel, because it's all about winning.
Who says you can't win them all? The YFC 450 from Yamaha.
They're getting ready for us on the trackside stage outside turn 4 at the World Center of Racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace lead the guest list right after IROC, right here on Speed. Welcome back to Daytona. Mike Joy with Kenny Wallace and Matt Yoakum. As it looks like 7 of the 12 IROC racers will answer the bell for the restart, led by Matt Kenseth, who has been out front now for 31 laps. Kurt Busch has led 3 laps. Bobby Hamilton, Martin Truex Jr. 1 lap each. There's Mark Martin. Danny Lasowski's ready to go. So is Bobby Hamilton, Martin Truex Jr., Buddy Rice, and Max Pappas. In the garage area, Kurt Busch, Steve Kinser, Scott Pruitt, Helio Castroneves.
You know, Mike, as I look at Kurt Busch's car there, I can't help to think about his interview. He said that Matt Kenseth really did like that yellow line. And in his voice, I could hear that he was upset that he could never make a move. And so you knew at that point, because of that statement, they were getting antsy.
Boy, Kurt Busch kind of backs up a little, and it squeezes between Busch, Pruitt, and Lasowski. Finally, Kinser gets to Pruitt's bumper, turns him around in front of Sebastian Bourdais, who is also out of the race.
You know, another way to look at this, let's look at the leader. Okay, they're getting a run on him, and watch Mark Martin. Mark hits him. Now watch when Mark hits him. Right there. That starts backing everything up.
Yes, because when Kurt Busch has to ease up, that opened the door down on the bottom for Scott Pruitt. Pruitt started to go to the bottom. Lasowski was already there.
Yeah, you know, now here we go again. Okay, right there, when Mark hits Matt Kenseth, here we're trying to talk about Lasowski and all these guys on the bottom, but what really, as I would say, jacked them all up was Mark Martin running all in, you know, to Matt Kenseth, and nobody's fault, but, you know, it's just that much of a draft that they're getting. So we've seen this replay so many times now, I'm taking a different look at it.
Yep, racing incident, no fault to be charged, and there are the 5 drivers who are taken out of this race and who will get minimum points for round 1 of Crown Royal IROC 29.
But now it's time to be positive, because here we go, baby. Oh my God, it's going to be out of hand. just not that many of them to pile up now.
Look at this. Look at the rear bumper on where it used to say Kenseth.
You can't see it.
Matt?
Martin made his debut in this series back in May of 1990. And Mike, he is chasing history. We talked to him at the pre-race. His average finish in IROC, 3.6. Hand signals to other cars, chasing the all-time winner. He is tied with Dale Earnhardt and Al Unser Jr. at 11. He would love to break that tonight. Now, Kenny Wallace, what lap are you going to try to make your move?
Well, you know, one thing that the legendary Dick Trickle taught Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, all the great drivers, and we're going to talk about this hand signal. Dick Trickle always says, to finish first, you must first finish. And that's why Mark Martin is such a great race car driver. His hand signal you just seen, what he was saying, let's stay in line, let's settle this thing on the last lap. If we're going to wreck, guys, let's do it on the last lap. Let's do it for real. And that's what, you know, let's do it where it matters. Now these guys are all out with 4 to go, and Mark's still in the game.
4 laps to go in the first round of IROC. Then you'll see trackside with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace on the guest list. Repeat champions of IROC. There's the list.
Legendary race car drivers, A.J. Foyt, man, Al Unser Jr., the late, great Dale Earnhardt, and Mark Martin. That just tells you how great he is. And this is his last year in the Nextel Cup Series, and says that he's going to have a little bit of fun, I guess maybe in the Truck Series. I'm not sure.
1 to go before we go green to finish this off. 4 laps to go. Caution laps don't count in IROC. Once again, a big hello to all the members of the American Armed Services watching us around the world. Glad to have you with us as we finish this off. Now, Matt Kenseth wired Richmond, won the $1 million last year. Mark Martin has 4 IROC titles. Danny Lasowski wired Texas. Where do you think the winner's going to come from, Kenny?
Well, you know what? I think it's going to depend a lot. Now, the race car driver in me is looking at the right front of Danny Lasowski's tire. Is it towed in? Is it towed out? Is the tie rod bent? They would not have sent him out there. I think it's going to depend on this car right here. Is he going to be able to push Mark Martin hard enough? And once again, look here. Bobby Hamilton was running in the back, I believe, on purpose. I think he said, I'm going to make my move later.
Remember about the choice rule on restarts. The leader is to get his own row, and from there on, each driver has the choice to go outside or inside as they line up here. So Martin now is alongside Kenseth as they clean the tires off and get ready to go for 4 more laps.
You just changed my mind. And I'll tell you why. I forgot about this, you know, double file restart. I think the maker is either going to be the dude, Danny Lasowski, or Bobby Hamilton. Who's going to get the best gearbox restart and push who the hardest? You know, is Lasowski going to push Kenseth the hardest, or is Bobby Hamilton going to push Mark Martin the hardest?
And can anybody get get Matt Kenseth off that yellow line in the corners if he gets the lead once again?
Well, as Helio Castroneves tried to do, he didn't spin him out. When you hit him, there's so much downforce on these cars. When you hit them, they just go up the track. But all I know is here we go, baby.
In the garage, Castroneves, Busch, Pruitt, Kinzer, Bourdais. That leaves 7 to settle this out. Green flag for 4 more laps.
Oh, look at this. Oh!
Lasowski squirreled up Kenseth. That'll give Mark Martin the momentum and the lead. He clears Kenseth and gets the lead.
I think Matt Kenseth was so worried about giving hand signals. You could see inside the car, he kept telling the dude, come on, come on. And the dude said, I'm here, man. And got him sideways, and that was the difference.
Lasowski, the orange car, Truex behind him.
Now, you know, it's fun to see that young energy. Matt Kenseth, you can watch his, and here he goes for the lead.
Boy, Kenseth is strong. If he can do this on the outside without a lot of help. Whoa!
Now, I don't know about this.
Yep. Lasowski just advanced his position on the bottom below the line. Now on the outside, Kenseth has drafting help. So too does Martin in the middle, and Lasowski falls to the back of the pack, voluntarily taking the penalty for being below the line. But now he's still got 3 laps to fight his way back to the front.
And I'm going to tell you what, the dude, Danny Lasowski, it took every bit of professionalism that he had to say, okay, I messed up, now I got to go to the back. Maybe he can make another run at him. I mean, great job of controlling the car.
2.5 laps to go. You think this is over? I don't think so.
Okay, who's in this game now that we didn't think was going to be in here?
Bobby Hamilton.
And Martin Truex.
And Martin Truex in the 8th.
Wow, what a race.
Both in their first IROC and both chasing 4-time IROC champ Mark Martin. 2 to go. And I'll bet Mark will be as hard to root off that bottom groove as Kenseth was earlier.
And you know what's impressive about this? I don't want to hear nobody say that Truex and Bobby Hamilton were in the back and all this, because the guy that's led the whole race is now running 4th, which is Matt Kenseth. They earned their way by him.
Mark Martin trying to become the all-time IROC race winner, and he's out in front with 1.5 laps to go.
I always talk about how Mark Martin is such a professional race car driver. Okay, now for the $1 million payoff at the end of this year for this series, now is when Mark Martin protects himself and is willing to beat and bang.
Here's his closest pursuer, Martin Truex Jr., champion of the NASCAR Busch Series.
I don't think Bobby Hamilton is close enough. Bobby might be dragging his brake on purpose. Let's see if the 4 car in 3rd gets a good enough run to help Martin Truex. You see he's laid off of him a little bit. Here we go. It's showtime. This is it. The final lap. He's getting a run.
Truex is oh so close. 1 mile to go. Can Martin Truex in his first IROC start go to victory lane? Or will Mark Martin become the all-time IROC race winner? Too little time. Mark Martin wins it by 1/2 car length. Truex made the move, came up just short.
And you got to give that guy a round of applause. Martin Truex now is 2nd in the points, and they go on to the next race.
Bobby Hamilton is 3rd. Matt Kenseth is 4th. Buddy Rice, Max Pappas, Danny Lasowski. Mark Martin will head to victory lane.
And now the all-time win leader in Crown Royal IROC history, Mark Martin, kicks off what he hopes to be another record championship season with a victory. Mark, welcome home.
Woo, thank you. Gotta have a drink after that. I didn't have a drink for that whole race. Some Gatorade's gonna be good.
Talk about that finish.
Man, it was wild. I started feeling some stuff coming off that corner. I wasn't sure where it was coming from, but I thought Matt was against me, and Lasowski, that was pretty intense, but that one's for Mark Martin, Ford, and Batesville, all the guys that work for me there and everybody that supports me.
What's it mean to take over the record as the all-time win leader?
I thought about that on that restart there. That's pretty special. I didn't think I could beat Matt, but just the way the cards felt, just, you know, it's our turn. I mean, if you race enough and you run good enough and you try hard enough, your day will come. It seems like I have bad luck all the time, but we didn't have tonight.
Mr. IROC scores his 12th career Crown Royal IROC victory.
What a great way to start the season for Crown Royal IROC 29. Martin Truex Jr. and Bobby Hamilton in their IROC debut finish 2nd and 3rd. What a show.
Well, I think it's great. Mark Martin gets to christen the brand new victory lane in his last year of racing in the big show Nextel Cup.
Thanks to Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond, Kenny Wallace, and Matt Yoakum. I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Mark Martin, now the all-time IROC winner. Trackside is next.